Welcome back to Heroic Dreams. Today, we're not just playing a game, we're going job hunting, and hopefully making enough money to survive another week. The position we're applying for today? A clerk at a remote convenience store called Hellmart. Now, based on a collection of recently uncovered documents and hidden details scattered throughout the game, I discovered something interesting. Hellmart looks like the perfect place to earn a paycheck. But before you start filling out an application, there are a few things you should know. Because this is not your average convenience store. According to the game's creator, Hellmart isn't simply a store management simulator where you stock shelves and mop floors. It's a strange horror story disguised as a part-time job. A story about life, death, survival, and the never-ending struggle of working for someone else. So what exactly is happening inside this mysterious store? Let's dive into the full story. To make things easier, I'll call our main character Mike. The story begins with Mike, a regular guy who's completely out of options. He's unemployed, desperate for money, and willing to take almost any job he can find. That's exactly how he ends up accepting a position at a convenience store called Hellmart. The convenience store isn't located in some busy town or roadside stop. It's literally in the middle of nowhere, the kind of place where you have to take a bus for hours just to reach it. The surrounding area feels abandoned, isolated, and strangely empty. Even the few people on the bus seem off. Nobody talks, nobody smiles, and nobody offers Mike a seat. Well, almost nobody. There's one passenger who stands out from the rest. A man wearing a dark hood sits quietly near the back of the bus. He never says a word. He just stares ahead, giving off the kind of vibe that immediately makes you uncomfortable. The weird part? The moment Mike looks away, the man is gone. No footsteps, no sound, no sign that he was ever there. It's the first warning that something isn't right about this place. But Mike desperately needs the job. And when you're broke, red flags start looking a lot like opportunities. So, he keeps going. The moment he arrives at Hellmart, he receives a phone call from his new boss through a nearby payphone. The conversation is surprisingly normal. The boss explains Mike's responsibilities, gives him a rundown of the store's daily operations, and prepares him for his first shift. Mike is also given a pager and a small room attached to the store where he can sleep between shifts. It's not luxurious by any means, but for someone in his situation, it's more than enough. Looking around the security monitors, Mike notices something interesting. According to the camera system, the game takes place in December of 1996. Which raises a question. Why does this isolated convenience store in the middle of nowhere have security equipment that seems way ahead of its time? At first, Mike doesn't think much of it. His room is small but surprisingly comfortable. He has a bed, a roof over his head, and a steady paycheck waiting for him. Considering his situation, he really has nothing to complain about. Well, almost nothing. There's one detail that keeps bothering him. Hellmart seems to be completely isolated from civilization. No neighborhoods, no nearby businesses, no visible houses, just endless snow and empty wilderness stretching in every direction. But Mike came here to work, not to ask questions. So after settling in and recovering from the long trip, he heads to bed and prepares for his first day on the job. The next morning, Mike begins his first shift. Before starting work, however, he's instructed to read the store's official rules. The first few seem perfectly normal. Keep the store clean, organize inventory, serve customers politely, nothing unusual. Then he reaches the final two rules, and that's where things get weird. Rule number 4, never leave the store at night. At first, the rule almost makes sense. The area is surrounded by snow-covered wilderness, and there isn't another person around for miles. Maybe the owner simply wants employees to stay safe. But then Mike reads rule number 5. Unlike the others, this one is written entirely in capital letters. Do not let him inside. That's it. No name, no description, no explanation, just a warning. Mike stares at the page completely confused. Who is him? And how is he supposed to stop someone from entering if he doesn't even know who he's looking for? Eventually, Mike shrugs it off. Maybe it'll make sense later. For now, he has a job to do. But before he can even start working, the mysterious boss calls again. And this time, something feels wrong. The voice doesn't sound like it's coming through the telephone. Instead, it feels as if it's echoing through the building itself. Or worse, inside Mike's own head. Even stranger, the boss seems to know everything that's happened. He knows how exhausted Mike was after the bus ride. He knows how well he slept. He knows details that he shouldn't possibly have access to. That's when a disturbing thought starts forming. What if the boss isn't a person at all? What if Hellmart itself is speaking to him? As if the store were alive, watching, listening, and now assigning him tasks through a voice that doesn't belong to any human being. The boss leaves Mike with one final warning. No matter what happens, the rules must be followed, especially after dark. Don't allow suspicious strangers inside, don't leave your post, and whatever happens, stay in the store. With that, Mike's first day officially begins. At first, the job is exactly what you'd expect from a convenience store. He sweeps the floors, stocks the shelves, organizes inventory, and slowly gets to know the locals who stop by throughout the day. Most of the customers seem friendly enough. They're polite, talkative, and happy to see a new employee around, at least on the surface. Because the more Mike learns about this town, the stranger its residents become. One customer casually mentions that a previous employee once gave him the wrong amount of change. His response? He destroyed the store's generator. Apparently that's considered a reasonable reaction around here. So while the customers smile a lot, Mike quickly learns that some of them aren't exactly stable. Still, nothing truly unusual happens during the daytime. The real nightmare begins after sunset,